We welcome you into another edition of Talking Arts and Entertainment. I'm Vic Folliet, and we've got a treat for you tonight. We'll tell you more and more as the evening wears along about the great show that's coming November the 30th. It's coming Friday night, 8 o'clock at the Fergus Grand Theatre, and it is Elton Rohn. And he is just amazing. And we talked to Elton Rohn, actually really Ron Camilleri. And we spoke to him earlier this week about that particular show, and we'll play you some music from Elton Rohn to get us underway, and then we'll talk to Ron.
Even on my favorite table, he could be my best. It's the
And welcome into another edition of Talking Arts and Entertainment. I'm Vic Folliet, and it is my extreme pleasure to be talking to a fellow by the name of Ron Camilleri. And I certainly know the Camilleri name from his dad and a whole bunch of other things. And, of course, he's also Elton Rohn, who's coming to the Fergus Grand Theatre this coming Friday night. So how are you tonight, sir?
I'm doing just great. How are you doing, Vic? You sound nice and healthy.
Well, I'm okay. And you're good? Not tired or anything? Because I know one time we were exchanging emails, and it seemed to me it was about 10 o'clock at night, and you were saying you had to get up at 4 o'clock the next morning to do some stuff. So.
Oh, it's been pretty busy, but yeah, no, I'm good. I got lots of energy, pumped. We're all set for Friday at Fergus.
Well, I'm really looking forward to the show because you guys have been... Well, matter of fact, Elton John's band is pretty pleased with what you do with the Elton Rohn show and the quality of it and the various and sundry things that you do with it.
We were asked a couple of years ago to go down, and we were the only tribute band asked to play at the Elton John fan convention. And when we were down there, we met the band. Everyone was there but Elton. But I hung out with Davey Johnson and Nigel Olsson, the guys from the band. And I was just I was in heaven asking Davey and Nigel. I spent all my time asking them about the recording process with when they did Goodbye Yellow Brick Road and how they used to do 3 songs in a day. And we talked about that for a long time. But Davey told me that, they've watched all our videos and they follow the band. And he complimented us, telling us, he hadn't seen anyone do it any better. He thinks we're the best in the world at doing this. Playing 70s Elton. So it was one of those moments that I'll never forget. First of all, meeting the band, but then chatting with them and having him recognize that they know everything that we're doing, and they're so supportive of it. It's just great guys. They were so much fun to hang around.
I was going to say very down to earth, and you might think they'd be the opposite way with the success the band and obviously Elton John have had.
Perfect gentlemen. Davey and Nigel were just perfect gentlemen, and they wanted to know. They kept asking about us. Which is, most artists probably wouldn't do that, right? They're so used to talking about themselves, but they were asking about us and how we're doing it, and it was just a really nice, fun conversation, very, very relaxed, and they really made us feel at home when we were down in Vegas.
So, Ron, tell me, where did all of this start? I know you've been, about 10 years now this whole show has been going, and it started out with a different name, though.
We'll be hitting our 10-year anniversary. We started as Ronnie and the Jets, and that was kind of a fluke. What happened was my brother and I both came up in the record industry, and when my brother Rick, he used to be the president of Sony Music, when he left Sony, he went to Can West Global, which was National Post and Can West Television. And he was, I think he was the president there. And he called me one day and he said, we used to have so much fun as kids. We used to play in the basement. Let's get some musicians together and let's just hack around. Let's pick some tunes and go. And I don't care where we go. We'll go play a bar if we have to. Let's just go play and have some fun again. So we picked a local bar here in Etobicoke. Mm-hmm. Bars used to go there frequently all the time. And we went in, and I'm a guitarist, so we were playing like Oasis and Beatles and all these songs. And the owner really took to us. He said, "Hey, you guys are great. If I threw you some more money, would you play another set?" So we did that, and he immediately asked us back the following week. So we thought, well, maybe we better expand our repertoire. We don't really have that many songs that we know. We were just doing this for fun to play for an hour or two. So when we went back the next day, the next time there was a keyboard. I can't remember if I brought it or if we invited someone who had one. But halfway through the set, I put my guitar down, and I sat and I played Rocket Man. And the place went crazy. So I strapped back on the guitar, and about, 10 minutes go by, 15 minutes, and someone yells out, "Do another Elton John song." So I took off my guitar, and I sat at the piano, and I played another Elton John song. And at the end of the set, my brother turns to me and says, "Well, why don't we do a whole Elton John set?" So we practiced, and sure enough, we were invited back to the place, and we did an entire Elton John show, and that started it. So we changed our name to Ronnie and the Jets. That was our first... Our first official Elton kind of a band. And we got invited from there to play a couple other places, and next we're playing, we got asked to be the headliner at the Burlington Sound and Music Festival, which is quite a big festival for a brand new band to play. And we played it, and the crowd loved us. That's when I decided to jump up and get a sequin piano and get a better outfit, it started to grow. And then as the band really started to take off, my brother, who's got all kinds of business dealings that he's doing, didn't have the time to kind of put into being our drummer full time. So that's when I decided to kind of up the effort, get additional guys in the band, put together a full band. We changed our name from Ronnie and the Jets to Elton Rohn, and that was the birth of it. And now we're playing all over North America. It's taken off like wildfire. The band's we've been really hot the last couple of years. Everything's going really well. We hit the stage. The crowds love us. It's really taken off. It sort of just started with just a phone call from my brother to say, let's go have some fun.
And when people see you, literally you look a lot, especially on stage with this whole show, you look a lot like Elton John.
You know what? And it's funny because there's been lots of times when I've been on vacation. We were in Chicago having a break. And I'm walking the streets, and this lady comes to me on the corner, and she goes, "You look like," and she starts snapping her finger. "You look like that guy." And I said, and I just kind of started to smile. She goes, "You look just like that guy." And I went, "Elton John?" She goes, "Yeah, that guy. You look just like that guy." I get it so many, I'm telling you, Vic. I mean, at coffee shops, wherever I go, people say, "Did anyone ever tell you look like Elton John?" And I always have my business card, my Elton Rohn card. And I flip it out and I say, "Here you go. This is what I do."
Yeah.
He said, I knew it. You look just like him." So yeah, I get the look-alike thing a lot. It's one of those things. I just look like him, and I can play the piano like him, and I sound exactly like him when I sing. It's like one of those things. It's like, I don't think I could do another tribute artist. This is the only one I can do, but I can really nail it. So it's kind of fun. I get out there and people get to see like another Elton John, which is what they tell me.
One thing that I was really quite fascinated with, obviously in the various venues and sizes and so on, you can't bring a huge piano with you all the time, but you've gotten around that from what I can understand.
When we do play some venues that have grand pianos, and it's fantastic. But then at the other venues, we had to get up with something. Not only did I have to have something that I wanted to look good, but it had to be able to fit in our transportation vehicle. So we have something that we can take apart and put it together. It's a piano shell, and then we drop the keyboard in. And I have some seamstresses who make my costumes, and I have someone who does my piano covers. So I have all kinds of sequin covers for the piano. So it's almost a fun project. I think I'm up to like 10 covers now. Change our look for every show. I know, it's crazy. It's like we're in this little mini industry. You should see one day I'm going to have a garage sale of all garage sales.
That's right. Where did you get that?
You know what? Here's the thing. I have a Fabricland card. I have all these, I go to all these textile places in Toronto on Queen Street. There's all these places you can go. Just rows and rows of sequins. They all know me when I come in. They all call me Elton. and we find all these, the new materials when they come in. We make our sequin covers. I have people that sew it all together for me. I have 3 or 4 costume places that are building me all my costumes. I have about 20 costumes now and about 10 piano covers. It's really grown into this industry thing now.
So how often do you make changes during the show, or is it each show?
Set the piano so that the piano's one color every show.
Okay.
And usually if we do 2 sets, I'll do a costume change in between, because it takes me a bit of time to get into all this stuff, all the sequins and everything, so I don't think I have enough time to kind of run between songs. So yeah, I'll do probably two outfits, one outfit change a show. So.
And you can sort of change the whole setup with the number of band members that you have, depending on the size of the venue. Is that right? You're up, what is it, 11 or something? You can be as...
Yeah, it's all based on the size of the stage and sometimes, But we can play right up to an 11-piece we've done with a string quartet. And we even go bigger than that. We've done some orchestra shows. We've done in Bemis Point. We're doing it with their entire string section.
Wow!
When we play there, yeah, those are really great shows. But they can be quite expensive if you've got too many players to have to pay. It's like,
to be blunt, yes.
Yeah, and how big the stage is, and we also don't want to have a concert ticket that's too expensive. Do you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
I don't want to have to charge too much. So what we try to do is we want to have a very competitive ticket, and I always make sure the band is plenty big enough, if not bigger than what the ticket usually demands for it. But I always make sure they get more than the money's worth with the ticket price. And so far, we've never had a complaint in one show. Not one. It's been just fantastic. But I love doing the shows with the string sections, and we have a percussionist who plays saxophone. We cover all the parts. There's no tracks. We play everything live, so it's
And the visuals look fantastic.
yeah. You know what? That's me. I have a recording studio in my home because I write music professionally, television, and so I have both an audio and a video studio here. And I've purchased all the footage, which was really expensive when we started, but I've got it all here for good now, and I can build all the backdrop videos for the show. And what we're doing is I'm creating them just the way Elton John does. Elton has images of himself in different stages of his career. Well, I've taken all the different images of me and the band in all the different shows we've done, and we've created the same kind of videos. So they're actually fun to watch. You can see me in all the different outfits I've worn and all the different places we've played, different sizes of the crowd. It's good, and because we own all the footage, we don't have to worry about any copyright infringement. It's fabulous. And on top of that, I have artists from all over the world who have submitted artwork to me that I'm using in the show. I've got people from Spain and the United States and just all over. They just send me the beautiful renditions of things that they've drawn that we've added into the show. And then I've also got some professional photography I use in the show. John Rowlands, the very famous rock photographer, he shot Elton John. He gave me permission to use some of his shots in the show. So everything that you see behind me when we play on the screens is actually things that either have been created for our show or I've received permission from the people who own the art to use in the show. I'm not sure. I don't think Fergus has a screen. So when we don't have a screen, the band just focuses on the music. We rock a bit more. And then when we have the backdrops, it gets to be quite of a more of an elaborate show, more of a storytelling type of thing, where the videos enhance the story. It makes for a little bit of a different show.
Now, can you buy material from the band at the shows? Like a CD or something like that?
Yeah, we have T-shirts, and I have my own original CD that we're selling.
Okay.
At some point, we may record a full concert and release us doing Elton John live. I just have to also clear the rights and everything for it, but that might be something we do down the road. But for now, it's we sell all our T-shirts. There's photographs there, and I have my original CD that I've recorded here in my studio. That a lot of people were asking me if I have anything to sell from music standpoint, and yes, I do. Yes,
you do, and it's very good. I've listened to a couple of cuts of it. So.
Thank you. Yeah, it was one of those things. I've been writing songs my whole life, and now people don't know this, but my primary job is writing music. That's what I've been doing for last 15 years. And the Elton John thing was kind of on the side, but now it's grown to quite a thing that I have two jobs at the same time I have to kind of balance. But the original music's always been my love, going in the recording studio and seeing what I can come up with. So it was really fun putting together the CD, and the fact that I'm selling it at the shows and all the people are, they're emailing me back saying how much they enjoy it. It's just really nice to know that, for all those years I wrote these songs, I kind of kept them to myself, and now I'm sharing them with everyone, and people seem to really like them. It's really nice.
Well, and I know you're quite involved in TV and TV writing and writing themes and so on. Is that for shows and also for ads and?
Yeah, I mean, when I was younger, a couple friends of mine, one of my really good friends was a voice character, and he did all the voiceovers professionally for CBC television. He still does them today. When you turn on, you see Hockey Night in Canada. The voice for the commercials is a good friend of mine. So I used to go into his studio a lot. I always wanted to do that. In fact, that's why I really learned how to play piano. I was a guitarist at the time, and I saw that if you could play piano, you can play any instrument in the world because of a thing they called MIDI, where you can play the keyboard and you can make it sound like anything. So that's how I learned how to play piano. And the way I taught myself how to play, I bought myself a piano. I did it by listening to Elton John and Billy Joel records. So that's why I play piano like Elton. If you gave me classical music to play, I'd play it like Elton John, because that's the only way I really know how to play it. So all these years later, it's really come to be an advantage for me. But back in the day, when I used to go, his name was Tony Dennis, when I went to Tony's place, I just loved being in the studio. So I always said I wanted to do it myself, and I built myself my own home studio. It's quite an elaborate, and it takes
the
basement of my house.
Yeah,
and I've been writing for television, and my stuff, I had some things on Sportsnet, and then I did some commercials, and then I hooked in with Melissa DeMarco. We did a documentary series that aired on Omni that won at the Los Angeles Television Awards. Mm-hmm. Won a big award down there, and from there she came back with her own series out there with Melissa DeMarco. We've been on now. We're in our 13th season, and I write all the music for that, and then I do some documentaries. I'm also working on a documentary film. So it's fun. I mean, that's my day job. I write music through the day, and then at night I go out and I become Elton.
How many shows do you do? Is it about 40 or 50 a year? With
I think we're around 40 a year.
Yeah.
We always said to ourselves in the band, we're gonna play. We love playing, so we like to get out there a lot, but we don't want to play to the point where it becomes like work. We have just the right number of shows now, so that every time we go to play, we're absolutely pumped. We just want to play. We want to get out on stage. If we were doing 5-6 shows a week, sometimes that can be really tiring. And at the end of it, you just can't wait to come off the road. We've never gotten to that point because we're just having such good time doing it. So yeah, we'll keep it in and around anywhere between maybe 25, 30 to 40 shows a year. That usually keeps it pretty fresh for us.
So are you, a stupid question, but are you an Elton John fan?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. When I was a kid, my dad worked for CBS Records, so he used to bring me home all the albums. And people that knew my dad really well, they knew that his favorite band was Chicago. And Chicago had an incredible horn section that he just loved. So when Elton John first brought out Honky Chateau, the first single off of it was Honky Cat, that had this really great horn riff in it. And my dad loved it, and he brought me home the album. And that was my introduction to Elton John back in the early 70s. And then right after that, he came right back with, Goodbye Yellow Brick Road and Don't Shoot Me, I'm Only a Piano Player, when Elton went on a string of #1 albums. So when the Goodbye Yellow Brick Road tour went to Maple Leaf Gardens in Toronto, my father took me. I was 13 years old, and I saw Elton, and I said, this guy is off. He's off the charts good. The people that know me know that as I grew up with my dad in the industry, I went to hundreds of shows. My dad took me to everybody. We saw Billy Joel before everyone knew who he was. We saw Bruce Springsteen's first time in Toronto, and I just grew up in the industry. So the first time I saw Elton John, there was just something a little different about it. This guy was a wild man on stage. I guess it would have been sort of like earlier in the day, people like Little Richard and Jerry Lee Lewis that I never got a chance to see. Those type of players were just crazy on stage and full of energy, and Elton was like that for me. And I just took a liking to him. So I got all of his albums, and I used to sing along to all of his albums as a kid. And here I am all these years later. I knew all the inflections and all the songs and the way he sung them. Between teaching myself how to play piano as Elton and then singing along as a kid to all of his albums, playing Elton for me came really easy.
Well, and I think fans of Elton John are just, we've got one here, as a matter of fact, on the radio station, Barb Evoy, who does a shift on the air, and she goes to see Elton if he's within 100 miles of here. So
yeah, well, Elton fans are crazy. In fact, when we played the convention, a whole bunch of people, that was one of the hardest gigs we ever had to play, because when you're playing in front of Elton John convention fans, yeah, they know every single note, every single lyric. Yeah. If I make a mistake on a lyric, they will know. So it's, and they're very, they can be very judgmental on what we're doing, and they absolutely love the fact that we were pulling out album tracks that Elton doesn't always do in his shows. That's what they love the most, that we were doing songs that they just weren't used to hearing, and they absolutely loved us. So that taught us very early on that there's all kinds of ways to please an Elton John fan, and most of all, you have to respect the music first and foremost. So we do everything in the original keys. We do all the early stuff that is things that all the Elton John fans want to hear. They want to go right back to the early 70s, which we do. We focus on all the big albums back in the day when he was in his prime. And the fans come up to us after the show, and they're just loaded with requests. They must have, 5, 6, 7 songs each of what they'd like to hear us play. So we take lots of emails. We try to do as many requests as we can. It's like a nation of people out there that are Elton John fans. They're a little crazy, but it's a good crazy.
Well, and he is, he's just an incredible talent, and to be able to sing his music as often as you do must be a thrill.
Well, you know what? I say this to people when we play. If it's a small, intimate thing, you get one type of a feeling. You get this really small, intimate connection with the crowd. When you're playing a large festival, we've played for like 10, 15,000 people. When you get a field of people and they're all singing Benny and the Jets with you, you kind of know what it's like that Elton must be going through. Sometimes I sing and I look out to the audience and I see everybody in the audience mouthing the words with me. That's how big this guy's music was. I mean, it doesn't matter where we go. his songs are so well known that it just makes it's such a joy to get up and be able to play it. And the fact that we can do it pretty well, the response that we get from the audience, I think for people who have never seen this before, there's a little bit of a shock, like, oh my God, these guys can really do this. That happens in the first 10 or 15 minutes of the show, and then after that, it's like we can do pretty much whatever we want because the crowds, they're all with us by that point. So it's just so much fun. We try to do different songs every show. And we've never had a bad song, in the sense that every time we do a song, somebody in the audience goes crazy because they say, "Oh my God, I can't believe you played this song!" And it's fantastic. He's got 4 hours of hits and another 3 hours of album great songs that you could play. So the hard part is, what don't you play when you do a show? It's not what we're going to play; it's what we have to leave out.
Well, you get a lot of just excellent critical acclaim from writers all over the place. People like David Farrell, who's pretty darn respected, says you're as tribute bands go, this is the best in show, I think is what.
Yeah, we're getting a lot of that. People are calling us the best Elton John tribute in the world, and we have some people saying this is the best tribute we've ever seen. So we try not to think about it too much. All we try to do is the best possible show we can, and we kind of let the cards fall where they may. There's a lot of good tributes out there, but I think what we do is, I'll put it this way. People always say things like, well, they're an impersonator or someone's an Elton John impersonator. I don't see myself at all like an Elton John impersonator. What we're doing is we want people to come to the show, and when they're leaving, they're saying, oh my God, it's like there's another Elton John. That's kind of the feeling I want to project onto people, that I will play like Elton, I'll sing like him, I'll sound like him, and I'll do the movements, I'll have it all there, so that when you're watching me, it's like I'm an Elton John, but I don't want to copy him 100% with my band. I encourage them to play like Elton's band would play, but you don't have to copy and paste. There's shows out there that'll do that do the copy and paste show. I want to play like Elton, so I know at a certain point in the show that he just goes crazy on the piano, then I'll go crazy on the piano. But I might not play exactly what he plays, but it'll be like an Elton John feeling, and that's what we try to do. And when we come out of a show, people they all have the same reaction. My God, it's like I was watching an Elton John show. And that's what we want to do. That's what we try to capture every night.
Now, people can do this at the Fergus Grand Theatre. It's coming up this coming Friday night, November the 30th, 8 p.m. And you can get your tickets, of course, from the Fergus Grand Theatre. And would you mind just sticking around a little bit? I wouldn't mind talking to you about the other part of your life, the record.
Sure.
Kind of thing. So let's hear some Elton Rohn right now, and we'll be right back on the Grand at 101.
I can't lie, no more of your darkness. All of my pictures seem to fade to black and white. I'm growing tired, and time stands still before me. Frozen here on the ladder of my life. It's too late to save myself from falling. I took a chance, I changed your way of life. But you misread my meaning when I met you. Close the door and left me blind by the light. can't fight.